there's two TV stars waiting to be made on social media.
Yeah.
Does anyone else get that sense?
Yep. Yep.
Well, yeah, I can't say we hadn't thought about it.
Yep.
Yeah, two guys who cook,
Yeah.
take care of kids, and the business of home,
I
whatever.
think there's something here.
I'm just
Jamie
saying
will
there's
talk later.
So that's what I was curious about, because I think one of the things you're going to have to really start to focus on is that if brand awareness and awareness of what you do is a real issue, and if you already have fans, then what are the digital assets that your fans are going to be able to share with their friends on platforms on their phones?
Right.
That's kind of the broad base.
So one of the ideas we actually had was, along with the food items, one of the differentiators would be if we could slap a QR code on or something that would take you to a link, and we could show you how, more than just throwing this frozen lasagna, for example, in the oven.
Sure.
It's here's how it's cooked, but here's how we'll take it out. Here's how we're going to plate it and leverage that personality as well.
Yep.
Yep. I like
Yep. Interesting.
Yep.
Great. Neil.
So, again, I want to stay in my lane a bit. Have you got a team, or is it just you two at the moment now with everything that's going on?
No, normally we have a team of cooks. Most of them have been kind of laid off or furloughed for now. But I've got a couple of my friends who are pseudo starting up their own advertising agency or marketing firm. Cool. They both work in the space, but they've been set aside, basically.
Yeah.
So we've brought them on, and then a colleague of ours, Adam, who we've known for about a decade, who's worked front of house, back of house, is infinitely qualified in this business, has come on as well. So that's essentially our core team right now. Okay. Our primary focus is just this program.
So we would look straight away at, again, I talk about this cadence of connection, setting up structures where you regularly interact, and don't let it be ad hoc. Right? So again, the power of your team now comes from the infinite wisdom, but in a conversation together, right? So like any sports team we work with, they rock up to training, there's intentionality behind the session. The coach has a game plan. We try and execute the game plan in training, and then it hits the field. You'd never see a sports coach rock up and just go, guys, let's just run out in the field and we'll just see what happens. Let's just, and we'll catch up with you every now and then. Turn up to training whenever you want. So our first recommendation would be get your structure right and stick to it, and have those honest conversations of checking in on what's working on a regular basis. Grab those insights, but also, this is bloody hard. Like we've got two kids at home, I've got one at home. It's mental, right? So the ability to support each other. Some days you're going to be up, sometimes old mate's going to be down. So we help each other there, right? That's what a great team and a great culture does. So that structure around your connection becomes integral, because there's going to be ups and downs, but also having honest conversations as a team would be our big recommendation. Now, from an ideas perspective, if I may, the fat rat on Ratatouille's name's Emile. It's the only other Emile I've ever found in my life as a name. Just wanted to throw that out there. But I'm trying to cook dinners for my wife at the moment because she's school teaching and I'm at home. And I'm hopeless, absolutely hopeless. Daddy dinners, where it's just simply chuck it in. I'm a customer.
There you go.
I would do that. I would buy that right now. And speaking to dads who are meant to be cooking dinner, you've got a pretty big client base out, I reckon, there.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Let's remember, we want to really zone in on, that's a great point. Let's zone in on what the problem is before we jump into solutions full on in the next few minutes.
Yeah.
Erica?
I'm going to throw this over to Brad. Brad, can you find out what some other problems these guys are having?
Yeah, so I also kind of see this as something that has a lot of legs. The frozen food pivot model, I think, is good. My question to you is, it's a two-part question. First question is, where is your commercial kitchen now?
We're at Dixon and Martin Grove, so right on the side of the 401 by the 427. Okay,
great. So you're in a good position. If I were to create a lineup of cars outside of your commercial kitchen tonight, how many meals could you serve tonight?
With no warning, nothing. If you told me tomorrow...
let's say I gave you a week's notice. This time next week, I'm going to have a lineup of cars outside of your commercial kitchen. How many meals can you make that night?
I don't know, Mike, what do you think, 2,000 or 3,000?
Yeah, we have the space, the capacity, we've catered out of here for 2,000 or 3,000. So, filling up our freezer with, 2,000 or 3,000 meals. Yeah.
We could,
Okay.
yeah, we could really get rocking quickly.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's all I need to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, that's, yeah, we have the capacity for sure, to do whatever we want. Unfortunately, the location is a bit of an issue. I think that's gonna be a problem for us, being where we are. It's a wonky, kind of spooky little.
You're an industrial park maybe, or what,
Not
like-
not so much industrial. There, we're anchored by a St. Louis Wings, but it's pseudo-industrial and it's a little set far back, so it's tough for people to find. I don't think we'd be focusing as much on storefront people coming to us.
No, I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Kenny, do you want to wrap things up here?
I just want to get back to from what you've said, because there was several things that were discussed. What is your desired outcome if you and Mike had a specific target over the next 2 months? What would be your desired outcome?
Well, we've kind of run the math. Next 2 months, I want to get up to somewhere in the neighborhood of $15,000, $16,000 in sales. That's going to be break even, where each of us are taking home a salary for once in the next first time for 6 months. So we've got to get ramped up to at least that kind of break even, and then really start rocking and rolling. But like I said, the way I see it, the sky's the limit, and the only limiting factor is how do we get front and center in front of as many people as possible. And I think a large portion of our marketing dollars is probably going to go into free samples and stuff. It's once you've tried it, you're going to be hooked. It's going to be easy, it's going to be delicious, and we're going to tell you the story about where it's come from and why it's good for your family.
On following up with that, you said get in front of as many people as possible. So if you had to go all in, like the Amazon show, all in, right? If you had to go it's all or nothing. If you had to go all in, right? Which target markets or customers would have the greatest impact in that desired outcome of $15,000?
So we've started to identify our market. Obviously, dads, families that are busy.
Did you say dads?
Dads.
Okay.
Specifically because, not to sound wrong, but the mom typically knows how to make dinner a little better than the dad, right? Dad's at home, it's chicken fingers and some slices of cucumbers. So that's going to be our target market, as well as probably somewhere in your 55 to 65 foodies who are now a little bit more conscious about going out, still want something good, even if they love to cook once or twice a week. They just want to have something easy, but they don't want to eat garbage.
Okay, so on that front, I'm going to pass it back to Erica. So I think it's clear, no, to generate $15,000 to $16,000 at the minimal, and their target is dads, 55 to 65 foodies. So moving forward, Erica, what can we do to help guide them with resources, leadership impact, questions, next steps, behaviors, or actions that we could follow over the next 2 months as they move forward in the area that they find most useful?
Well, from my point of view, working with thousands of Canadian moms and dads across the country, I think that the world of social media will be incredibly important for you. I know Gare mentioned a little while ago, he asked what kind of assets you have. I think that would be key for you to tap into the social market. I think the idea of sampling is very wise. I think that would connect really well with the world of social media. And I actually have a few connections in that world, so we should talk.
All right.
Can we pause for 1 second? 1 second. Tech, do you hear that little sound? Is that from Mike? Is that in your background? Or Erica? No? What is that? I've heard it for a bit.
It's
Hear
just
that
it's a laptop fan. It's somebody's laptop fan.
It's a laptop fan. Okay.
Oh, that might be the laptop mic's on then.
I don't hear it, but.
Mike, just put yourself on mute. I don't want to waste time on this, but just
Yeah.
put yourself on mute.
Okay.
No. You can go back on. Okay, we'll deal. Okay, so continue. Erica.
Okay, well, let's get some insights from other individuals. Elizabeth, what about you? What recommendations do you have for these guys?
I'll look at it from a leadership perspective, because there's front of the house, there's back of the house, there's marketing, and to really assess who does what best. And maybe you've already done that, but who does what best, and where do you need to sort of fill the gap logistic-wise. That would be one of my tasks for you, to really, and to really be honest about it. Who's forward-facing, who's behind the scenes, who do you need to hear from, who's most effective, who's most aggressive, who builds and models relationships and whatnot. I think that's something really important to think about. I like that you have a target market. I also think the consideration of a price point, sort of strategically, like who were you in the market when, as no small feast, what you did, and who do you want to be in this particular market? Because there's a drive-by, there's farmers markets, there's stores, there's clients. So what kind of price point? And lower, I think, does not necessarily mean better. You can certainly be, a high-end, you don't even have a cachet as much as you could be. This is for everybody. So to really have that consideration and not be afraid of it.
Yep.
Great advice.
Yep.
And that's what I'm thinking. And of course, like I said, I have a lot of ideas because, I live this. Sort of my secret side hustle, not so secret.
Yeah.
That'll be kind.
Elizabeth, would you be open to sharing some of those now, above and beyond the leadership? Is that your, yeah?
Sure.
Yeah,
I mean, it's sort of like a longer conversation, but I would say, is that kitchen really that type of kitchen that you have? Is that an essential component of your business? Could you partner with a restaurant and use an underutilized restaurant and eliminate that cost? I don't know if that makes sense. Like I said, price point is really consideration, like high-end, low-end, something for everyone. I mean, you and I, we all know in the catering world, there's different levels of caterers. And there's caterers that survive and they don't. I would also network across a few caterers that you know and trust. I would say befriending with competition should make us better, and you know who those people can be. So is there some collaboration point with some other caterers, either in your local area or perhaps outside the area that you can talk to and see what's working, what's not working, because more brains in this is better than one, because I think there's no perfect solution, and it's not necessarily city specific, but it could be city specific or location specific. But it would be interesting to really sort of put out the feelers on that and get more collaborative insight.
It's funny you should say that. We actually do have a group chat going with a handful of other catering company owners that we know, and everybody seems to be just throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. But it's interesting that not all of us have to throw everything at the wall. Company A does one thing, and we see if that works. So we're working that way, and I think it's a great idea to stay in touch with people, because if and when we can scale this, when we run out of room in our kitchen, we call our buddy and say, look, we're going to contract you out to make this as per our recipes. Mm-hmm. Can I just ask a quick question?
Yes.
So, Erica, you were saying you love the idea of samples. The one thing we're struggling with a little bit is, where the heck do we give out samples? How do we get that stuff out?
I know.
Well, that's a great question. There are some companies that are sampling companies, so they have the ability to mail things out or deliver things. But the question would be also, I would assume that you have a delivery mechanism.
Yep.
You have a delivery truck. And so it's basically finding a mechanism to collect the right people, find the right people, where sampling would make sense. Mm-hmm. So in the world that I work, there is such a thing as influencers or micro-influencers. I think those would be the key words for you to look at. You can work with an agency like mine that has a roster of influencers. But the key is here, you want to find the right people. You don't want to waste your time or samples, excuse me,